Hey everybody, Michael Kurtianik, Macintosh Realtors here with my Pez collection and with my partner in crime, Laura. Laura, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic. It's springtime and it's freezing. It's supposed to warm up. So yeah, everything is good. Life is good. It's exciting. And we have another exciting topic that we don't normally talk about this. So this will be good information again.
Yeah, that's great. Well, before we start, just introduce yourself. And to all of you out there, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you would like more content from this video, please message us below and we'll be happy to send you the information to you when you message us. So, Laura?
Awesome. Laura Fournier. I'm with Nations Lending. We are in all 50 states. I really am like a mortgage concierge for my clients. I help them understand with lots of information and education and hand holding. I take them all the way through the process and never let go. And even afterwards, no 800 numbers. They just call me and I solve their problems. So it's really
Okay.
priceless.
It sure is. You truly are full service, Laura. Thank you so much. I thought we'd talk about something, like you said, doesn't pop up a lot. And some people may have heard something about it. It's called 1031 exchanges. And I don't know about you, Laura, but I don't do a lot of these. If I do, sometimes my clients here in Maryland will want to buy something oceanfront somewhere else. So I don't usually, but through the years I've been educated on it and trained on it, and we have a lot of people in Maryland who handle, the 1031 exchange, paperwork and guidelines and stuff. But how about you, Laura? Have you experienced a lot of 1031 exchanges in your career?
I'm not going to throw it into the a lot bucket, but periodically they do come about. I get questions about them, but we don't always have, it doesn't usually fit the scenario. So it does come up. So what exactly, excuse me, is a 1031 exchange?
Well, simply put, it's when 1031 exchange occurs when you sell an income producing property and then you use proceeds from the sale of that property to purchase another income producing property. I will tell you that it started in the early 20th century, and it did start with the politicians. It used to be called a Starker Exchange, and through the years, it's kind of evolved into what is now the 1031 exchange. And how it got started historically was that the politicians were a little wealthier and they would want to purchase, say, an oceanfront property, right? Or a second home. But they felt like they shouldn't have to rent out this vacation property and then maybe sell it and then maybe buy a different income producing property. And they felt like they shouldn't have to pay the capital gains on it. So they crafted language, and it started like around the 1915, 1925, somewhere in that range, or in the 1920s. And that's just kind of how it all got started. It's a deferred capital gains taxes from selling one income producing property to another one.
And that's fascinating that the politicians wrote some rules to benefit themselves.
Yeah, it was. And
I
to
love
provide a
that.
little bit more clarity, it's tax deferred, not tax free, right? So you defer the capital gains tax
Mhm.
for a very long time until the end.
So I know there's got to be rules and restrictions on what fits this scenario or not. I do know that you can't like touch any of the money. So I know the owner can't receive the proceeds and then respend them. It has to go to a third party
Yep.
Like a specialty title company is the people that what I've used or
Yeah, that's a
had
good way of
handled.
putting it, Laura. A boutique niche, specialty title company. Yeah, so we have them around the state of Maryland and of course throughout the country. They're what's called 1031 exchange advisors. And the IRS allows for a third party. That's who these people are. They're a third party to facilitate and follow the IRS guidelines on the sale of the income producing property to the purchase of another one. The tax exchange advisors will make sure that everyone meets their deadlines. Yes, you can ask for extensions, but there are deadlines where you have to identify your purchase within a certain amount of time. But you're right, they're like a specialty title company. And it would be wise for anybody even considering selling an income producing property and buying another one to first talk to that tax exchange advisor to make sure that all parties know what the latest IRS laws are and make sure that everyone is in compliance. And that's why there's an arm's length third party group. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
absolutely right, Lauren.
And is there any ability, like if you're selling property A, the funds that are your profit, the money, your net money that you're getting, does all of that have to go into the other property?
So good question. No, not all of it does. So I'll just make up a number. Let's say um, you're selling your income producing property and you have capital gains of $300,000.
Hmm.
But say you only need 200,000 of that to buy another income producing property anywhere in the contiguous 48 states, not
Hmm.
Alaska, Hawaii, but anywhere else. If you only need 200,000, then you will pay the capital gains on the $100,000 that's left. But it's 1/3 of the capital
Hmm.
gains tax instead of paying capital gains taxes on all 300,000.
Hmm.
You only pay capital gains on the proceeds from the sale that you do not use.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And what kind of properties qualify for this type of exchange?
So in brief, anything that is income producing on the sale side and on the purchase side. So it could be a business, a vacation rental, a trade. Those are properties on the sale side and then the purchase side. Those properties will qualify for a 1031 exchange. You cannot use a residential property. You can't sell your home, Laura, and defer your capital gains taxes when you purchase a vacation home, say on the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
By the same token, let's say you want to sell your vacation home in Chesapeake Bay and want to buy a residential home in Sedona, Arizona. Well, no, because the Sedona property is not an income producing property, nor are you going to use it as a rental or a business or a trade. So I don't know if you have experiences with that, but it has to be a like kind exchange, income producing property sale, and then use proceeds to purchase an income producing property.
Yeah, I did have a last year I had a client and he wanted to do this 1031 exchange.
Okay.
And um, he was actually, I mean, he had an investment property that he was selling that he was getting proceeds from. So that part was a check mark. But he wanted to use it for this property that he was helping his daughter buy. So he
Oh,
was going to be like a co-borrower, a non-occupying co-borrower.
yeah.
And it took us quite a few conversations with myself and the settlement attorney to help him understand that that wasn't going to work because she was on the loan and he was on the loan and she wasn't making a rental payment. She was actually paying a mortgage. She was going to live
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
He
You
was
can't
just
buy a
like,
house for your daughter and say it's a tax or that 1031 exchange. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so I was like, no, no, that doesn't work that way. He's like, well, we can just say it's going to be a rental. I was like, no, I think the IRS like kind of frowns on us just like saying things that aren't true.
and that's
We
a
don't want to be
great
in trouble.
example, Laura, of how a third party arm's length to guide and shepherd all parties comes into play. Because then they'll be like, no, no, I understand you think it's a loophole, but it's not a loophole. The IRS will not allow this to occur. So here's all the data. Here are all the laws. You cannot do this.
Yeah, that's what I did. I contacted somebody that specializes in that and got, you know, their perspective, and I connected them so he could ask his questions and stuff. But I was just like, no, that's not going to fly. And we don't want to set up mess with the IRS. Like there's
No,
certain people you don't poke.
no, you don't
Don't
poke
poke
them,
the
and
IRS.
you don't poke the media that buys ink by the barrel. You don't poke
Right.
that bear either. So yeah, so that's a great example, Laura. I'm sorry you have to go through it, but you played it by the book, and you got to go by the book on this. Otherwise, the IRS will come down and they just won't allow it. They just
Yeah,
won't
we
do it.
don't want to have lengthy conversations with the IRS.
No.
So what kind of time frames do people have? Because just out of curiosity, because in that scenario, he was selling his investment property. How much time did he have to roll it to the next thing?
All right, so good. So I wrote this down because I didn't want to get it wrong. So forgive me if I'm looking down. So just give me a moment here. Um, the first time limit you have is 45 days from the date you sell the property to identify the replacement property, to identify the property you're going to purchase. That's 45 days. And you have to do it in writing and signed and delivered to the 1031 exchange advisor. So that's the first time limit. It's 45 days from the date you sell your first investment property to identify another one. And then the second time limit is that the property you're buying must be completed and settled within 180 days after the sale of the first property. Now, you can ask for extensions. You have to prove that there's something that causing the delay of longer than 180 days,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to go to settlement on the property you're buying within 180 days of the settlement of the property you sold.
Yeah, that's good to know. But 45 days could be a little stretch to find another property. So you probably want to do some homework up front.
Yes, yes, exactly. That's the key. And when I advise people, investors who own properties, I'm like, oh, no, we're going to hold off on putting it on the market because let's start looking. And if you're looking in Sedona, if you're looking in Seattle, if you're looking in Carolina, you start looking now. And then we wait to put your investment property on the market so that you can meet the IRS guidelines and laws so that you can identify within 1 day of the settlement, and you can settle in 30 days after you sell your house, your investment property. But that's the key, Laura. Absolutely. Try and find your replacement property first before putting your investment property on the market.
Cool. Good to know. So all of you investors out there that are interested in making those exchanges, call Michael and he'll help you look for that next property.
You bet. And if you like, subscribe, and share, and message us and would like more information, I will send you a link and or a PDF of a fact sheet that the IRS has created to help people understand the basics of it. You get the basics, talk to your realtor, talk to your lender, but then also get connected with a 1031 exchange advisor. So I hope this helps. It doesn't happen a lot, but excuse me, but when it does, it's very important to follow the IRS tax laws and follow the guidelines set forth by the exchange advisor.
Perfect. That's wonderful. Very good information. Another little niche out there in the world to consider. And we're always happy to be putting out this great content that's educational and informational for our buyers out there.
You
Terrific.
got it, Laura. So until next time, thank you. Thank you for watching. Laura, always great to have this conversation with you. And if you need any more information, let us know.
All righty. Make it a great day, everyone.